Hi guys, and welcome to another Bootstrap 4 with brackets text editor video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. In our last video we put together this little notification tab over here. In this one I want to just add a number counter. We're getting to the end of this site. We've added pretty much everything I wanted to add to it and a little bit more beside. So under here I want a little section with 4 little number counters. Perhaps they could identify appetizers, main entrees, desserts and wines sold this week or something like that. But it's always another sort of eye-catching thing for your site to have one of these. So let's get that done. Now to do this, it's going to involve creating a bit of jQuery or JavaScript. Don't panic, it's all done for you. I found a great site here where they've got a demo, and what we're going to do is just create our own JavaScript file, pull it in and create a number counter here that's going to do what these are. Well, one of these is, I should say. So let's get started. First thing we're going to need to do is open up our brackets text editor. If you've been following along, you'll know this is what I've been using. It's free. You can download it from a link below this video. This is where we finished last time. Now, if we look at our folder that we created with our website files in it, here's our index.html. That's what we're looking at the moment. The other file we're going to be working on today is our custom CSS file that we created. And for this particular video, we're going to go into that JavaScript folder and we're going to create another JavaScript file. Like I say, don't panic, it's really easy. I'm going to walk you through it. We're not actually going to be writing any JavaScript, we're just going to be creating a file there. So if we go back to this numscroller site here, and I'll put this link below the video also. It's called demo@tinywall.net. Thank you for this. It's a great example and a bit of a time saver as well. It tells us what we need. We need jQuery. Well, we're already running jQuery in our site here. If we look down at the bottom of our site where our scripts are, you can see we've got jQuery already running there. That's fine. So we don't need to worry about that. But we do need to worry about the numscroller plugin. Now if we click on that, it brings us to this lovely page here. Now doesn't that look scary? No, it's fine. All we've got to do is we'll just copy the whole thing from the top. Make sure you get that first / there all the way to the bottom. Control C to copy. Now let's open our brackets up. Go up to the top and hit new and just paste it in there. Now that looks like just dead text at the moment. It is because we haven't told brackets what kind of file it is. Now to do that, we want to save it as a JavaScript file, and that has the .js on the end of it. So let's save that. Save as. There we go. And we want to navigate to our Bootstrap 4 site that I showed you just now. This folder right here. And we want to go inside the JS file or JavaScript file. And we just want to save this, give it a name. I'm just going to call it NSC, I guess. Number scroll. Something that that makes sense to you. So I'm just going to NSC number scroll. And what we need to do, nsc.js. We want to call it JS for JavaScript. So it knows it's a JavaScript file and we'll read it as a JavaScript file. Now once we save, you'll see this code change to live code. Boom, there we are, bit of color. Don't worry about those. For some reason brackets throws up those error messages there, but I have tested this, it works absolutely fine. So there you have it, you've created your first JavaScript file. Congratulations. So we can go back to our Bootstrap folder now, and it's right here. Should be right here in our, there it is, in our JavaScript folder. Okay, now if we go back to our index.html file, we want to actually pull in this file. We want to tell this page when it loads, you need to pull in this file also. So I'm going to put it, I guess I'll just put it above that muted video text we got there, just below that smooth scroll. Again, I'm going to give it a title so I know what's doing what. I'm just going to copy that line because all I'm going to do is change the file name because that's pointing to the JavaScript. So if we look at the source, it's pointing to our JavaScript folder, this folder, and it's pointing to the smooth scroll, which is that one. We want it to point to that one. So all we need to do is change the name to NSC. There it is. It's told us it's there. If it hadn't done that, you might want to check that you've got the right name. And let's save that, Control S. Okay, so we successfully created that JavaScript file, and we've told our index page that it needs to pull it in when we want to use it. Right, let's actually create a little section that's going to house this. I'll close that down. So what I want, I guess it's going to be below this. I'm going to have 4 little sections, 4 little columns, I guess, each with a number scroller in them. If that makes sense. So let's go back to our index.html. And let's create a new section. I'll give it the ID of numbers. For want of a better name, you can call yours whatever you want. Just remember what you've called it. Numbers. I think there's a B in there somewhere. There we go. Because I'll just use that for a bit of background styling. I haven't decided how I want this to actually look yet, but because the section before this is kind of a light section, it's that light grey. I can try a white section, I guess, but I'm probably going to end up giving it a blue section like this, so it's contrasting a bit against it. We'll see. We'll deal with that a little bit later. Okay, and inside here I want a Bootstrap 4 container. There we go. And I was using a shortcode there. Brackets is awesome for shortcodes. So if you go up to Files, Extension Manager, everything I use in here is absolutely free. If you want to use these shortcodes, I do recommend them because they save so much time. Just go to your available, type in Bootstrap if you're doing Bootstrap, or JavaScript if you're writing JavaScript. It'll bring up a list of available plugins, and you can just hit the install button and it will install it. The one that I'm using most at the moment, I mean all these are good, the Bootstrap ones, but the codes I'm using in this particular video I believe are coming from RCH Bootstrap 4 snippets. Once you've got it installed, like I say, it's free. Just hit on the more info. It'll take you to their GitHub page that's got a list of all the shortcodes you can put in. It'll make your HTML coding go so much faster. Anyway, back to what we were doing. Okay, we've created a section, and inside that we've created a container. Inside that container I want to have a row, I guess, with 4 columns inside of it. to actually house our number counters. So row. That row with columns is going to add a column for me, which is just what I want. Now, because I want 4 columns, I've got to make this 3. Smaller ones I'll make 12, so they're full screen. Larger ones I'll make, actually let's make that 6. These can be 3, because 3 4s are 12. Bootstrap row is made up of 12 sections, so if you want it to display 2 boxes, you do it 6 and 6. If you want it to do 4 boxes, you do 3 and 3, or just 3. If you want it to do 3 boxes, do 4, and in 1 box is 12. I've got an extra gap there. There we go. Okay, so I've got a row. There's 1 column inside of it. I want to have 4 columns, so I'm just going to copy that. 3, 4. So now we've got a row that has 4 columns inside of it. Alright, so now we've got our container with our rows. What do we want to do? Well, we want to put some content inside our little columns there. And let's go back to our little number counter site here, and it's actually provided us a nice bit of HTML we can put in there. So let's just grab that. From the opening span tag to the closing span tag. Back to our HTML. Let's just paste one of these inside each. In fact, I could have done this first, would have probably been a bit quicker. But this isn't going to take too long. Okay, so we've actually got just about everything we need in there. Let's take a look and see if it actually works. We should have 4 little columns with each counting to 1,000. So let's see. It won't look very pretty at the moment, but let's just see if it actually works. Here's our site. Let's do a refresh. There it is. I don't know if you can see that down at the bottom there. And they did actually count. There we go. You see it starting off at 1,000 and counting back from 0 to 1,000. I'll explain exactly why there. Okay, well, let's do some CSS and start styling this to make it look a bit prettier. So let's go back to our brackets and let's give these some classes so we can target it with a CSS. Now this row, I want everything in it to have text center, so I'm going to give it the text center class. And at the moment that data is just a generic. I want to make it say H2 so it's big. And that H2 I'm going to want to be able to target so we can give it some colors and some size and what have you without affecting other H2. So let's give it a class. So if I didn't give it a class and try to target it, it would change every H2 that we've got going on there. Let's call it, I don't know, number counter. That'll do. And close out that tag. And that closing H2 tag, we want to just plop on the end after that last span there. Now let's just copy these down. Put one in front of each span tag. And you'll see it throwing up those red errors. It's because we haven't put the closing tag there. Brackets is very good about telling you that you've done something wrong, or that something's missing, or that you've clipped something off. There we go, all's blue. So this way we can target this H2 and color it and style it however we want to. Let's have a look and see what we've got there. Probably going to want to add some padding. Let's just save that. We've not actually delved into CSS yet. There we go. Our numbers are a lot bigger now. And they are counting up. Just make sure if I refresh and go up, it should actually start, I think, looking at that JS just now when it becomes into view. Yep, there we go. Great. That's just what I wanted. Alright, well now let's style these things. Make them look a little better. Like I say, I've still not decided what I want to do with this yet. I think white's alright, but I think it would look better if we had that nice blue background. So let's use that. Let's go to our custom CSS. Let's start by adding a title. // // and we'll call it number counter. Now we gave our section the ID of numbers, so let's give that blue background. So because it's an ID, it's hashtag numbers. And let's find that nice blue color we've been using. I think that's it right there. I'm just going to grab that whole attribute. In fact, I'm going to grab that too. It's got a bit of padding, and I'm going to add a bit of padding as well. But I'm going to have padding 0 pixels, I think. Okay, let's just save that and see what we've got. We should have our numbers now on a blue background. I'll do a refresh. Yep, okay. Alright, now what I think I want, let's make those the same color as this and give them on a white circular background. And I think make them a little bit bigger. And then we'll have some kind of title up here. Okay, so let's do that. Now, I gave each of these sections the class of num_c, so that's what we can target for the background. I won't change the color of the H2 just yet because we won't be able to see it before I put a background in. So let's go back to our CSS and target the num_c. Okay, so let's go down and .num_c because it's a class with dot or period. And let's give it a background color of white. And we'll have to give it some padding around those numbers. So, well, let's do this first. Let's give it a height. Let's call it 125 pixels. We can always change this. So those little sections will be 125 pixels high. I'm going to make them round, so I'll make the width the same. That way we can use a border weight radius, but I just want to see what this is going to look like first. Let's just have a look what we've got there. I guess I could have done this in the Chrome Inspector. I think we'll do the adjustments there. Let's just save that and see what we've got. Okay, what's going on here? I'll get my class name right. NumC, that's better. Control save. Let's have a look now. If you get it wrong, it doesn't know where it's targeting. There we go. Okay, alright. Okay, well that's sort of getting there. I guess I want to bring this down to the middle, then we can make these nice and round. So let's inspect those. We'll use a Chrome Inspector this time. Let's bring that up. Bit too much. I think I want to make those. I think I want to make those numbers a bit bigger before I do this. Just out of interest, let's make these say 35 pixels. Is that too big? We can even go a bit bigger, so make them 40 pixels. Yeah, I think that'll do, 40 pixels. So let's go back to here. I'm going to adjust our padding to see what we want. Let's make that padding 30 pixels, a bit more. Use my scroll wheel. It's going up, it's going down. So I'm scrolling down, it's about 38 pixels, looks about right. Okay, and let's make that round. %, should make it round. There we go. I think I could actually make that a little bit bigger even. Let's make it let's make it 150 pixels. We'll have to adjust that padding again. Let's just adjust that padding. There we go, that looks about right, about there. So 49 pixels. What if we do 50 pixels? I'll call it 50 pixels. I'm just going to copy these classes over to the one below. Then I can plop it all in the same one. I'll just uncheck those. Let's just copy this. Once I've got all that copied, I'll just plop it in there. And we changed our font size on the H2 to 40. I'll have to remember that one. So let's just paste that in there. Don't need that. And don't need that extra closing curly on the bottom. Okay, let's do numch2. H2, so that's targeting that H2, and we changed that to 40 pixels in size, didn't we? So let's do font size. 40 pics. Let's save that. Hopefully that'll change all of those. Back to the site. Now, when I refresh, hopefully those should also stay the same. There we go. So I think I want a little more padding on the top there. That doesn't quite look central to me. What have we got? Padding top 50 pics. That looks a bit better, doesn't it? 55 pics. So let's just change that. Let's change our color to that blue, the font color as well. Let's go back. It's padding top 55. And we want to use that color there, so let's go. We're making those H2s. Let's just copy this color. Let's save that. Back to the site. Refresh. Hello? That didn't change our color. I think those should just be in a num-C, because I think the H2 class is actually that itself. Yeah, it is. So I kind of overcomplicated it there. Let's debug that quickly. Go back to our custom CSS, and all I need to do is put this in the right place, which would be right there, and that's probably why I had to adjust that padding just now. Let's get rid of that. So let's put that back to 50, and hopefully that should work. Control save. Back to the site. There we go. That's what we wanted. Just get rid of that. Okay, so we want to add a bit of text at the top and some text underneath each of these. Appetizers, entrees, desserts, wines, and I guess we'll say something like delicious items served today. So looking at this though, I don't think those are in the center of their divs. Let's have a look here. Yeah, there's the actual div that they're in, and they're over to the left, so I want them to be central. So I've just got to add MX Auto to that. That should square them up in their boxes there. So that's margin auto either side. So let's do that quickly. Yeah, right there. I just want to add MX Auto. Copy that and just add it to each of those. Save that. That should have squared those up when I refresh. Now let's get that inspector out of the way. Yeah, they're in the middle of their block now. That's just what we wanted. Okay, so let's add a title. And I want it to have its own section, so let's just create another div here because we probably want to give it a bit of padding. And I'll use that H2 tag again for a title tag. And let's have a look. I want to use that text light and text center, so let's give it a class, those two classes. And I just copy that. So I want it to be light text, and I want it to be centered. Okay, and now underneath, sure, I don't need that text center right there. I don't know why I put that in. Should be centered anyway because of that. So underneath our H2, which is our number counter, let's use an H3 so it's slightly smaller. Heading 3. I'll just copy this over to the other sections as well. And change the name. And wines, I guess. Okay, let's save that and take a look. Okay, that's kind of what we want. Want a little more space between this and those. I think I'm fairly happy with that. Let's just give that some padding at the bottom of, say, 5. Maybe too much. Let's see. Here's our title. And let's give it, well, a new Bootstrap 4 padding classes. Padding. B for bottom. 5, which is the max. That may be too much. Let's see. Yep, that's okay. And again, let's give this a little more space on the bottom there. Let's give it and let's make that class numd, NUMD for number description, and I'll just copy that across, and we'll use our Chrome inspector to see how much we want to actually push those down, because I can't use padding on here because it'll push the whole thing down, and those padding classes want to be on a div. So let's do it this way and see what we need to do. So let's save that. There'll be no change. And what I want to do is we'll get our Chrome inspector up, slide this up and select these, and that should have a class now, numd. Let's give it some padding top. Let's give it 20 pixels. We can always change it. Actually, that doesn't look too bad. I don't know if I even want to change that. 20 pixels looks about right. Let's just select it, and with a mouse over it, we can just roll up and down. It's really just what looks good to your eye. It's 30. So let's stick with 30 and just add that to our style sheet. And the class was numd for description. Open and close some curly brackets. And I'll just copy it across. And that should do it. Now all we need to do is make those numbers do what we want them to do. So let's save that, Control S, back to the site. Now all of these should drop down when we refresh. Good. So aesthetic wise, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm quite happy with that. Let's change these numbers now. Now if we refresh, you'll see those numbers actually start. It looks like it starts at 1,000. Or does it? Let's go back to our index page and make these numbers do what we want them to do. So let's go back to our index HTML. Now here's our first number counter. There's the minimum amount of data. And here's the maximum amount. So it's starting at 1 and it's going up to 1,000. Let's change this to random 1542. Data delays 5. That's how long it takes to actually start. Now this is displaying what's displayed initially. So we'll leave that and we'll just see what this is going to do. It should go from 1 to 1542, but I'm thinking it's going to start, it's going to initially say 1,000 there. So let's save this and have a look. Yeah, 1,000, and it should count 1542. Okay. So let's actually change that to 0. So it starts at 0. That's fine. The rest of it, see that? I think that says it takes. Let's change that and just see what the difference is. I think that's taking. Just have a look a minute. Actually, change this to 10. It should be going slower than the rest of them. Yeah, that is. If we actually look at their site, it's the easiest way to do it. They've actually explained it down here. Data minimum, that's where it starts. Data max, that's where it ends. We fixed that. Increment, that's how much it goes up by. You can do it by individuals or tens or hundreds or thousands. Delay, total seconds to complete the number increment rolling. Okay. So that's what we've got there, the delay. So I'm going to take that up to, let's just see the difference, 15. And I put that to 0, so it actually starts at 0. If you look at the other ones, when we refresh, it'll start at 1,000, go back to 1, and count to 1,000. So let's have a look. Control save, go back, get our site, do a refresh. Yeah, you see those counted up pretty quickly. This one took a lot longer. That's fine. I think I might even make it. Let's make it 25 and see what the difference is. Get it right on the first one, then we'll do the same for the rest of them. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Let's even change it to 35, see what the difference is. Yeah, I like that. Okay, we'll use that, and let's change these numbers now. Okay, minimum 1, that's fine, and let's put our max number in for entrees. Say we've done more entrees, 2, 4. random numbers. Again, let's make that 35. I quite like that 35 numbers. It gives you a chance to see it doing its thing. Desserts, not so many. And again, 35, that's fine, that's fine. Put that to 0 as well, because I want them all to start from 0. But that's entirely up to you, what you want it to stay initially. Now you could have it starting from 100 and put 100 as the minimum, and it'll start to 100 to whatever your number is there. Okay, wines. A fair few drinkers. Let's make it a lower number. Let's say 854. And that's all fine. So let's save that. Back here. 854. Oh, no wonder it got there. It got there a lot quicker. If we just refresh that again, I didn't change that the figure. See, they all reached their destination at the same. That one was a lot quicker because I'd forgotten to change this. Data delay to 35. But play with these, get them exactly how you want them. There we go. That's going to work. Okay, well, let's go back to the top, just refresh. And just to make sure I've refreshed it, and let's stay up here. I'll scroll down slowly. And hopefully when we hit that section, those numbers should start. Looking at that JavaScript, I think it was in when it becomes viewable. So they would have finished already by the normal method. Let's have a look, see. There we go. That worked fine. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. That's great. That's just what you want them to do. Start scrolling when it's in view. So that's it. That's how to add an animated counter to your Bootstrap 4 website. Sorry this video has taken a bit longer than I thought it would. I hope you found it useful. If you have, please like and subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in web development, take one of our courses below. We've got some huge discount for our YouTube subscribers. And there's also some great free courses down there, so check it out. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.